Like it or not, Jean-Philippe Mateta just produced the single best XG number we've seen since it was introduced in the Premier League. Let's compare him with Joao, Pedro and Gyokeres. Are we sleeping on the Frenchman? Probably. Welcome back to another video, guys. Hope you're well and you're looking forward to Game Week 9. We're here to react to Game Week 8, but also look forward. These are my early thoughts. First and foremost, let's just review the Game Week gone. How did you guys get on? Let me know in the comments. I had a brilliant week and I'm delighted to be on a big green arrow. Of course, there is Monday Night Football, but I think there's very little interest there in terms of FPL as things stand. So, just to run through my team, I took a couple of big 50-50 calls on my bench this game week. And you'll have known if you watched my content last week, I was 50-50 on so many calls. And I feel like this season especially, I've been really bad at 50-50 bench calls. Well, this week I got it right. I went Dubravka over Pope. I went, 9 versus 2. I went Mukiele 17 versus Senesi's blank. Happy days. 2 massive swings. Yeah, I got Reijnders versus Minter wrong. 1 point lost there. But Dubravka, Mukiele, Gabriel and Richards is a huge haul at the back. And then Reijnders, Bukayo Saka with 7. Sarr 2. Semenyo 4. Gyokeres and Joao Pedro blanking. We've got to discuss them, especially in the same conversation as Jean-Philippe Mateta. Why is he not in all our teams? In fact, guys, let me just show you my thumbnail from my team section last week. It was Gyokeres out, Mateta in, and I didn't go through with it. Maybe this is the week I put it right. Haaland, obviously, with captaincy, came in as you expect him to now. He's just become super, super reliable. So we're on a big green arrow. I needed that. I've absolutely needed that. But it goes to show you can go from, you can half your rank with 1 week. Easily. You just need that one big name to turn up or that one big haul to come in for you. And Mukiele was that guy for me this week, and he's a bit different. He's very differential, 2% owned at my rank. But Mukiele came in with 17 points, and that was absolutely massive. So, look, Mukiele, he gets DEFCON a lot, even when he plays right back, which is where he did for Sunderland. His goal threat is increased at right back, you could argue. He's some really good runs, but he's great for DEFCON. Sunderland are good for clean sheets. They've got very good underlying defensive numbers as a team, and he takes the long throws. You might just get a couple of assists from a Mukiele long throw. Ballard came close on Saturday from a Mukiele long throw. I don't think anyone throws the ball further in the Premier League. His balls come in with so much speed and they cover so much distance that you'll get a load of first contact headers which go on target. Usually with long throws, it's the second contact off the flick on which produces the chance. Not necessarily at Sunderland. Guys, thank you, by the way, for hitting that like button and subscribing. If you've got a question, drop a comment. All of that jazz. Before we see my team moving forward, I just want to talk about another star boy, the star boy, and that is Bukayo Saka. Sure, Mukiele came in with 17 points, but boy am I happy to be on Bukayo Saka nice and early. And I feel like if you wildcarded in Game Week 6, you may not have Saka in your team. But those that wildcarded in 7, when I did, and 8 last week, it was a no-brainer to pick Bukayo because he's back fit, and we've seen him wearing the Arsenal armband. We've seen that he's on penalties. We've seen him for England score goals. And this looks like a well-rested Saka that's actually fully fit. And we can't always say that with Saka. It always feels like he's playing with a knock. Well, I don't think he is. I think he's pretty fit. And I think the rest early this season has done him good. And Arteta didn't rush him back, probably because Madueke was playing so well. We've seen in the past he's been rushed back. But when his numbers are this good, he's so close to a big haul. We're talking about that 17-pointer that can get you from 2 million to the top 1 million. Bukayo Saka can do that, and actually arguably should have done that in Game Week 7 or Game Week 8. And owners were a little bit unlucky. Yes, we had a return in Game Week 7. Yes, we had some points in Game Week 8, but he could have had double digits in any of those, 15 points plus. He was that good. In Game Week 7, he had an XGI of 1.98, and then look at his numbers in Game Week 8. Top of the charts for every attacking metric pretty much, other than goals. Most touches in the opposition position box, winning possession, creating chances, the take-ons, the dribbles, the tackles even. He got DEFCON. Wide forwards at Arsenal don't get DEFCON. Well, Bukayo Saka did. It's like he's Ndiaye or Grealish of Everton. They're the only wide forwards that have been getting DEFCON, the Everton lads. Well, Bukayo Saka hit the threshold of 12 defensive contributions late in the game. He didn't get a goal. He didn't get an assist, and he still got 2 bonus points because all of the underlying stuff that we're seeing here is rewarded. So he outscored all the Arsenal defenders that got a clean sheet for bonus points. That's how good he was. He was unlucky not to get more. Gyokeres missed a couple of big chances from Saka. Saka just sliding him in. I'd say big chances. Gyokeres hit the target with a couple of good shots. I wouldn't say they're big chances, but they're chances you expect an elite number 9 to find the corner and score. That's coming. The Gyokeres-Saka chemistry, I think, is probably coming. My big question on Gyokeres is he a long-term hold? Because he's looking better now. Of course he's looking better. Who wouldn't look better with Saka in the team? He's been playing without Saka. My problem with Gyokeres is my patience is running thin. And the more I watch Arsenal, I just see defence like clearing away the best in the league. Not having double Arsenal defence feels naive. And if I offload Gyokeres, I can get another Arsenal defender. I have Gabriel. I would love a Timber. I would love a Calafiori. And I think that's where I have to move this team to. Let me know in the comments if you're on double Arsenal attack or double defence. It feels like if you've just wildcarded in 7 like I did, there's a chance you went double attack. But double defence, for those that were on wildcarding game week 8, for example, felt like the right call. I would have loved to have known if Gyokeres was on penalties, sharing them with Saka. Saka went down and we thought he'd won a pen. It went to VAR, it was overturned. I feel like Gyokeres may have taken it and they might be rotating, but let's see. I guess we've just got to watch this space, haven't we? So look, that's my Saka chat. That's my Arsenal chat. Saka is close, guys. Bring him into your team. He's going to get a big haul and the fixtures are absolutely there for him. So look, we'll see my bus team and I'm happy with how I'm set for game week 9. I'm going Pope in goal. I've got a back 3 of Gabriel, Senesi and Kilman. At the moment, I'm benching my Crystal Palace players. You'll see Sarr on the bench. You'll see Richards on the bench. You'll see Mukiele versus Chelsea on the bench. So I have Saka, Semenyo, Reijnders and Minter. We'll talk about a benching dilemma there. And then I've got a front 3 of Haaland, Joao Pedro, Gyokeres. But I feel like I just have to be aggressive and make a change. I have got 2 free transfers. I have got 0.3 million in the bank. And I'm going to tell you where I'm about to go, I think, in a minute. But first, do I start a Sarr or a Reijnders? Reijnders has caused a headache for some FPL managers because they're looking at his returns and they're going, I need to sell him because they see Man City blue and they think they should be getting a return every week or every other week because he's a Man City attacker. Guys, you paid 5.5 million for Reijnders. Let me just manage your expectations. He's most of your 8th highest priced attacker. He's your cheapest attacker, or you've got one cheaper than him. You can't expect a return every two weeks. If you get a return every 3 or 4, which he's been doing, I think you're happy with Reijnders. You just got to bench him at times. We haven't seen early subs. We did see an early sub this game week. Because Champions League is round the corner, he's played on international duty. Maybe he's in the red zone. But in terms of performances, he put it on a plate for Doku. Very nearly had an assist, Reijnders. I'm very happy with him, and I think I'll probably start him next week, given the fact Sarr's playing Arsenal. Although it must be said, the way Palace are attacking, benching a Palace attacker seems foolish. So that's a 50-50 and that will go down to the wire. Do I bench Sarr or Reijnders? Well, I guess watch this space, guys. Watch this space. Guys, you've got to check this out. A word from our sponsor, Huel. You've seen the logo around. You've seen Gary Neville drinking it, right? Well, look, Huel has become part of my morning routine. If I'm doing the school run or walking the dog or making videos for you guys, this works for my busy schedule. And if you watch my Sunday debrief videos at 8:30 a.m, you'll see me drinking Huel. It's a nutritious meal. It tastes great and it's good for you. It's got all the core components and ingredients of a meal. It's high in protein, but nutrients and minerals too. You know, all the stuff you see in the health food shops like flaxseed and vitamin B12, yeah, that's all in there as part of 26 vitamins and minerals. And you guys know I'm a bit of a health freak. I love this stuff. I've been drinking Huel for some time and I reached out to them. They sent me all this free good stuff. So look, the pre-made bottles, but you've seen me with the powder, great for the home as well. Guys, I'm feeling so much more energetic and refreshed. I want to stay young for my kids, but I've also had gut health problems in the past. And I know this is good for me. And I've now got a regular stool routine. Use the code Gianni10 to get £10 off your first order. And I know you'll love it. So drop a comment below and let me know if you've been using Huel and what you think to it. But you can scan the QR code. You can click the link in the description, Gianni10, £10 off your first order. I know you're going to love it. It tastes great and it's got none of the rubbish. I hate drinks with all the artificial colourings, the sweeteners. No, replace them with a bunch of good stuff. It's a winning formula. Guys, my biggest headache this week is going to be, do I bring Mateta in? I can bring him in for Gyokeres. I can bring him in for Joao Pedro. Remember, Chelsea, Arsenal, Palace, all playing in Europe this week. There's no need to commit to this move early, but I want to look at the key stats. And straight away, if I'm going on the Fantasy Football Scout members area, I can see the key stats between these three forwards. And this is a really nice comparison because they've all had the same minutes, 665, 673 and 690. They've all had 8 starts. They've all been subbed off in 3 of the games, by the way. But when you look at the numbers, boy, is it so much better for Mateta. He's had 5 goals versus Joao Pedro's 2, Gyokeres' 3. It's worth noting, Joao Pedro has had 3 assists, but the numbers were brilliant the first few game weeks. But if you're looking at the last 3 or 4, Joao Pedro hasn't had a sniff. His last shot on target, Joao Pedro, was in August. Yeah, Victor Gyokeres is getting shots on target, but he's not finding the corners. Well, Jean-Philippe Mateta is getting absolutely all of those things, and he's looking so good. We mentioned the XG at the start of the show, right? The Premier League haven't been recording XG for that long. It's a couple of years. Since they've started, the record for an individual player in one game has gone to Mateta. 3.5 XG in one game. Wow. He got his hat-trick. He should have had 4. Unbelievable performance, not just by Mateta, but by Crystal Palace. Let's take note. If you watched my videos last week, I showed you all the attacking stuff and I spoke a lot about Mateta and I showed you all the team data. It said Crystal Palace, top of the XG charts. Look what they did to Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Look what they've just done to Bournemouth. In today's show, we're not going to look at the team data. We're evolving, right? We're moving forward. I'm showing you some of the individual stuff. So comparing Mateta to Joao Pedro or Gyokeres, at the moment, there's just no contest. When we look at some of the other stats, let me show you again on Scout. I can bring up the expected data. So XG non-penalty. Let's just look at. And by the way, Mateta's on pens. We know that for a fact. Joao Pedro, we don't know if he's on pens. Enzo probably taking them over him. And Gyokeres, Saka is probably taking them over him. But let's just look at the non-penalty anyway. And then add to it, just remember, Mateta does have the penalty appeal. XG 6.18 for Mateta versus Joao Pedro at 1.5 and Victor Gyokeres at just over 2.5. Worlds apart. Even the expected assists, pretty much the same for all 3 players. Jean-Philippe Mateta is clear. And Crystal Palace are putting up such good numbers. We've just said that. But look at the amount of shots Mateta had at the weekend. So he gets his 3 goals. He had 11 shots. It's not on this graphic. Guess how many passes he had? He had 11 successful passes. He also had 11 shots. Madness. 9 of them inside the box, 2 outside the box. He missed 3 big chances, hence the high XG. The chance he missed at the death to win the game at 4-3 was such a big one. I just look at this and all things point towards Mateta. However, and I should add this, some will be put off by his minutes. I tweeted last week, people on Wildcard aren't buying Mateta. They're going Waltemada, who worked out. They're going Bowen. And yes, Mateta might not be a 90-minute man every week, but I think in Europe, we're going to see Mateta missing out a couple of games. And I think for Premier League, he is going to get loads of 90s. Of course, as soon as he got his hat-trick, I had to retweet that and just say, the only transfer I wanted to make was Gyokeres to Mateta. Look, you've seen the thumbnail, right? 90 minutes and 17-point hattie, and that's just what he does. I did not want this to be a told you so tweet. I just wanted to mention that minutes is a concern, but the more you look at the schedule, why is minutes a concern? Because let's see what he gets on Thursday night. Crystal Palace play AEK Larnaca. I think that's a Mateta rest. If that's a Mateta rest, yeah, we bringing him in, just the chances of bringing him in is massively increased, right? He's then got Liverpool in the EFL Cup. I'd expect him to start that game, but you could argue Palace might take that competition less seriously and they could rotate. And Nketiah is going to start one of those next 2 midweek games. And if he doesn't, AZ Alkmaar again is another one he could start. And Nketiah is going to get minutes. I think Mateta's fine for 90 minutes in the Prem against Arsenal, against Brentford. Watch this space, but I think we're worrying about nothing. Honestly, I was shocked people on Wildcard didn't pick Mateta. He was a no-brainer pick for me. So look, when we go back to my team, how do you guys think it looks? How do you guys think it looks if we take out a Gyokeres? Or if we take out Joao Pedro? Well, look, let's just chat about those 2 players. Because I don't really want to sell Gyokeres, because I think he's going to come good. but I know I want double Arsenal defence. To get double Arsenal defence, selling Gyokeres is my only route there. There's no way in a month of Sundays you're going to be selling Bukayo Saka, is there? No one's going to do that. So this saves me money. If I go Gyokeres out, Mateta in, I've then got a whole load of money, right? That gives me big improvements at the back. I can take any of my defenders up to a Timber, for example. I could swap Chris Richards for Daniel Munoz, who's another player I really want. I think he's a big upgrade. We just saw 2 assists for Munoz, and he's getting DEFCON, although Chris Richards has been great. Having the extra money could be really, really valuable. And will I use transfers to do that this week? Probably not for the defensive transfer, but absolutely considering it for the attacking transfer. The other school of thought is Joao Pedro. We've just looked at his numbers and they're not great. Joao Pedro looked a lot better second half for Chelsea at the weekend, and there was a big shift. What happened in that second half? Well, Maresca put a number 9 on, and Mark Guiu played number 9. Joao Pedro didn't have to play it. Joao Pedro isn't a natural 9. He's only looked really good as a 9 early this season because Cole Palmer was on the pitch. Well, who doesn't look good as a number 9 when Cole Palmer's on the pitch? That's what Cole Palmer does. He creates, and he's got one of the best creators in world football arguably behind him. Of course, Joao Pedro is going to be useful. But ideally, he wants to play with someone ahead of him. He wants to serve that player. He's still a goal threat in the number 10. He's still got a chance of being on pens. I don't want to sell him ahead of this fixture run. Let's see. He doesn't play in the Champions League this week. He's suspended. So again, minutes look really good for Joao Pedro because of the Champions League suspension. He didn't go away with Brazil in the break. He's well rested. He did look good at the weekend. Chelsea just didn't look great first half. Second half, I thought Joao Pedro looked quite tidy, especially as the 10. So again, guys, I don't think we should be knee-jerk selling Joao Pedro. I don't think we should be knee-jerk selling Gyokeres. But how else do you get Mateta in your team? You've got to sell one of them if you've got the same front three as me, and many have. Haaland's out the question. Of course, you're not looking to sell him. So what other forwards do you have in your team? If you have a Woltemade, you don't want to sell him. You might just have to be ruthless, guys, and sometimes you have to sell good players to get better players, and I think that's where I'm at. I'll reveal all later in the week. Of course, the QR code has been on screen for Huel. Do check them out, guys. Genuinely, I've absolutely loved the way this has transformed my routine. I feel so good for it. It's a meal for me. I'm missing breakfast. This is my breakfast. It sees me through to lunch. I'm so happy with it. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.